real quick, like, subscribe, share, and comment. I'm getting you some new, explosive, crazy information in the new 6ix9ine trial that just happened today, the hearing. So we get a lot of new information from the last one. This is some insane stuff that just changes the way the direction of this trial is going to be going. And I don't think anybody anticipated the stuff that was going to happen today. So first off, before I get into it, I want to talk about who was there and who wasn't there. None of his family was there. None of his friends, family, girlfriend, baby mama, none of them was there. I saw a video earlier that he said that someone said he said that he didn't want his family and friends there, and maybe that was true. I guess it was true because none of them showed up. Now, what is that? What do I think that means? Is that either he's looking out for their safety, because again, we know that this is a very sensitive case. You know, even the lawyers, the prosecutors just want to put people in protective custody. People believe that people are going to get hurt around this case. So that could be the case, or they visit him so much that it doesn't really matter if they show up in court. If it was me, I'd want my family to be there every time I was in court, but you know, I'm not Danny. And it could also be that maybe he didn't want to look at their face because he was going to cry or something like that, because this was a very emotional day in court. And I'm going to run down what happened and what I think about what's going to go on in the future. Now, the craziest thing is that one of his lawyers is gone. There's a slight chance he may come back, but it didn't look like the judge was really happy with him, because the judge told him that he should have reported that he previously represented uh, uh, Mel Murder and Crippy. So that's Jones and Walter. Mel Murder is Jones and Crippy is Walter. And Lance Lazaro previously represented them in a number of different cases. There were state cases. Some of those were dropped, and I think one of them pled to a misdemeanor. Doesn't matter. There's a conflict of interest in the eyes of the judge, a possible conflict of interest, I should say. And you know, I guess it's called Curcio issues. That's how he referred to it as. And it's funny because when when the judge brought it up, Shadi was laughing like, emotion wise, they looked like they were in a lot better place than the last time. You know, it wasn't as tense. You know, people was laughing with their family. People was talking with their family. When I was sitting next, like I said, I was next to his family, and they were talking to each other, laughing, and it looked like, I don't want to say that they thought they were gonna get out, but they were just they were a lot more comfortable in their position, and that's a good thing because they're not, they're facing real time. This got so much more serious than last time, because we kind of have a blueprint about how things are gonna go. It's a much more emotional day in court. Let's talk about the defendants and how like what's going on with them. So some defendants are in MCC and some are in MDC, which is the Metropolitan Detainment or Detention Center in Brooklyn. And they want them to all be in the same place so they can review the discovery, which is the evidence against them, because they have that right. So right now, some of them can't access discovery. And what's more is like how it's set up, the library where they go to get the information, some of it is video, some of it is audio. Now, they can't play the audio without it being broadcasted in the whole place, so everyone is going to hear it. So they were advocating for them to get headphones so they can listen to it and they can keep that information to themselves, as opposed to just playing that for the whole freaking jail to hear. Also, there's like safety concerns about people getting stabbed and stuff like that. So that's another thing that's going on. On top of that, there's a government shutdown. I'm sure you guys know about the Trump shutdown, and that created a lockdown. So these people haven't left their cells in 5 days straight. You know, the food is being brought to them. You know, that's insane. That's like, it's basically like you're in a hole and you don't have, not only do you not have access to the public, but you don't even have access like outside your cell for 5 days straight. So mentally, you could kind of see what that would do to somebody, but they still, I mean, Shadi had a fresh cut, so they still, they're getting by, I guess. They're not letting it tear them down. They're talking to each other, laughing at each other. except 6ix9ine obviously, because he's again sitting by himself. Um, so in terms of evidence, they got more social media stuff. They got more phone evidence. Obviously, I told you guys that was gonna happen last time, and they did get it. Uh, there was some search and seizure problems that came up, and one of the lawyers wanted to have that looked at by the judge. These lawyers this time around, they didn't come to play. Like the defense lawyers, they came on their A game. There's new lawyers. There's kind of replacements there. People switching lawyers. I know Shadi's old lawyer is now representing him on murder. So, and also like they came to play, and the judge, because the judge was agreeing with a lot of what the defense lawyer had to say. I know a lot before now, people thought this was going to be a landslide. This is an open and shut case. All this evidence, it's over. But I don't think so. It's going to be a dogfight. We don't know how long this case is going to be, but this is going to be. They didn't come to lose. I'm sure they're getting paid top dollar, so they're going to fight this with everything they have. You know, but all in all, it was an emotional day, man. It was laughs, cries. It didn't feel like court. I mean, yes, court is emotional. People crying in court, but it felt like a family thing. Like people were kind of seeing their family and just, there's a lot more talking to the family in this one. Shadi's mom, or I don't know for sure Shadi's mom, but one of the family members were next to me, and she was basically obviously showing love to her family and understand, and one of their sons who's sitting like right after her next to me just breaks down crying, and you could see that it hit the father hard. At least I think it's the father. It could be uncle, but it hit him hard. Like, and she was like, "Hey, man, he's not doing too well, man. He's not taking it too well." Which obviously he's a kid. He's a kid. That was sad. That didn't look good. That was really sad, and you kind of feel bad for them because, God forbid, but what if this turns into a cycle and you see this kid like just has a fuck you attitude and just ends up in the same situation? God forbid, it could be, this could be a wake up call where he takes a new path in life, but we never know. It's just a very sad situation, and he had to get escorted out the courtroom for a bit just because he couldn't take it, and I don't blame him. When you're facing these kind of numbers, it's like your life is literally in the balance. But something that was crazy is that they tapped the phones while they were in jail. Now that sounds like like, if you know me, I'm not a big fan of the federal government. It's for shit just like that. That sounds like abuse of power because you put them in jail for the evidence that you do have. So you're saying that evidence you already have is enough to put them in jail. Then why are you tapping their phones? What more evidence do you need to get? Right? If you tapping their phones, that means you don't think you have enough evidence to put them away. So if you don't have enough evidence to show that they're what you say they are, why are they even in jail in the first place? I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying, like, to tap their phones while they're in jail, somebody got to make that make sense to me. So that was one of the things that was surprising to me. On top of that, another thing was the phones that they have, right? They've seized phones, but some phones they haven't searched yet, right? So there's some search and seizure problems going on. Because I don't know why they have the phones if they don't have the warrant to go through them. So it looks like they may have seized some phones they shouldn't have seized. And what they do is if they can't get into the phone, they send it out to vendors. So private people hack the phones for the government if the government can't do it themselves. So that's something I didn't know that I found out. And one of the lawyers for Mr. Martin was talking about how this is a possible violation of the Fourth Amendment right, because that's the right to search and seizure. Because if you're saying that, hey, we have evidence that's in this guy's phone based on the phone calls he made, then you should only look at the phone calls. Don't go getting evidence from browsing history, pictures, other messenger or whatever. You said it's phone calls, look at the phone calls because that's where you have that's where you're saying that you have your probable cause. And like I said, the judge is agreeing with a lot of what the defense is saying. I mentioned in my old video, this judge is a pretty reasonable guy, and this kind of proved it. I'm not saying the judge is taking sides, obviously not, but he's willing to listen to either side. He doesn't have the look of, bro, these like I'm ready to sentence them. Like I'm ready. He wants to take this as, he does want a speedy trial, but he wants to, he doesn't want to skip anything. You know what I mean? So the date is set for September 4, but it could change based on new information that comes out. Um, Another thing is some of the gun laws have changed since the first indictment. So some of the laws have changed, and this is in particular to this 924C law. I don't know what it is yet. I'm gonna look it up, and I'm gonna make more videos after this. Um, so the law is gonna affect the change. The law change is gonna affect the sentencing. So it looks like they may either get more or less years to serve concurrently with the other charges, based on if they're found guilty of this gun possession. So that's going to affect, how many years some people get. That's important to mention. I think I already talked about the government shutdown and how they've been in lockdown for 5 days. Yeah, they haven't been seeing their I don't think they've been seeing their family. I think that's it. Some of the information you be getting, it's inaccurate. Some people left court early and they just saying things that were changed at the last second of court. I hope that you don't think the next hearing is February 20, because it's not. I'll clear up everything in the following videos. I'm going to keep this one relatively short. I already know I've been talking for a while now. I sat next to AGTV, good dude. Probably going to do a live with him, just conversation. We could go about what we just talked about. I'm going to try to talk to Shadi. I think I have a way to talk to him, and I'm not going to try to incriminate him. I'm just going to have him just explain what he's going through so he could just kind of talk to the public. He hasn't done that since he's been taken. So, it's a good way to give him the opportunity to speak. I think that's it. Oh, yeah. Shout out All Viral Access Media. I'm probably going to do an interview with him. He's the first person that gave me my interview when I did the first hearing. So I'm definitely going to do an interview with him. I'm trying to get Diamonds Live to get on a call with me again. So that's possibly a thing that may happen. I think I talked about who was there. It was just a bunch of people's family, except 6ix9ine, and then media, So like, share, subscribe. If you share this content, please give me credit. People take my content all the time. I'm kind of used to it, but I am getting new subscribers, so just letting you all know that I appreciate the comments. We talk about stuff all day on my channel, and I definitely like getting the ideas from people and using it in my videos. So I would appreciate if you kind of put my content out there and tag other people so they know it's coming from me. Thank you. Have a good day.